Hey folks, Kilt-Man here. Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very, very well. Now, I've covered the Quatermass Xperiment, Hammer's first foray into sci-fi horror with Professor Bernard Q, Quatermass, Q Department, saving the Earth from alien invasions left, right and centre. And that put Hammer on the map. 1955. Brian Don Levy, or Don Levy, however you want to say it, Irish-American actor, taciturn, brusque, likes his coffee all morning long, so long as it's laced with whiskey or brandy, or sometimes both. Occasionally he'd actually put coffee in it as well. More on that later. And it was a rip-roaring success. In America it was known as The Creeping Unknown, and it's based on Nigel Kneale's outstanding BBC TV drama serial, of which he did 3. The Manx screenwriter and ideas man, known as the Rocket Man. Everything was about space and forwarding science. He hated science fiction, and yet came up with some of the best science fiction movies and stories we've ever had. Real groundbreakers and trendsetters. A Manx writer, and he wrote these for the BBC. Outstanding. Hammer bought the rights to the 3. Quatermass Experiment, Quatermass 2, Quatermass in the Pit. They didn't get around to doing Quatermass in the Pit till later in the 60s, and it was in colour with Andrew Keir playing Bernie Q. But Brian Don Levy, the only guy ever to play Quatermass more than once, is in the first 2 outstanding entries in this trilogy of sci-fi sagas. And Nigel Kneale was no longer under contract with the BBC. He didn't write the film adaptation of the Quatermass Experiment, as I say, known as The Creeping Unknown in America, because no one in America knew who Quatermass was, so the name meant nothing. So even Quatermass 2 wasn't called Quatermass 2 in the States, it was called Enemy from Space. And Quatermass in the Pit, a decade later, was known as 5 million miles to Earth, 5 million years to Earth, something like that. When I come to review that, I'll get that bit right. But Americans didn't know who Bernie Q was. But Nigel Kneale was no longer under their contract with BBC, so he could actually be freelance. So even though the rights had been sold to Hammer, he could now screenwrite it. And with returning director Val Guest, who did Quatermass Experiment outstandingly, the 2 of them co-wrote an adaptation of his Quatermass 2. Now, you've got to remember that these serials were like 3 hours long in each of them. So you had to condense these stories down, amalgamate certain characters, ditch certain sequences, streamline things. Now, for my money, I think the films are superior to the TV shows. Not just because of the limitations of TV sets and effects and all that, but they're punchier. There's more momentum and drive, and a bit more violence as well, especially in this one. Quatermass 2 is uber violent. You will be surprised. Anyway, so look, Professor Bernard Quatermass, an American. Well, he's American for the movies because you want to sell the distribution rights to America, get your film marketed elsewhere other than just the UK, you need to have international stars in there, especially back in those days in the 50s. So great success, Quatermass Experiment, Quatermass 2. 2 years later, 1957, with double the budget. So Val Guest has now got £90,000 to play with. 90,000 English pounds to splash on the screen. And it does show. Once again, it's an ensemble piece with lots of characters, lots of locations, lots of different sequences, and quite an exciting finale. But in this one, more so than the first, Brian Don Levy takes centre stage. He is the main protagonist in this. Whereas in Quatermass Experiment, he is the main man of the story, but he's not in many scenes, and other guys overshadow him all the time. So this time, with his trusty toupee, one of 5, I believe, which were in this movie, all of which were lost. But we'll come on to the antics of the 5th and final toupee. What happened to that? How it took flight. We'll come on to that eventually. But first of all, I'm going to have a swig of whiskage. Regular viewers know I've been bereft of this stuff lately on the videos because there's been no whiskey in the hizzy. I've had to go out to pubs and socialise. And now I've got some here. Bottoms up, y'all. Cheers. So Quatermass 2. Quatermass now has a new project. He's the Rocket Man. He's Nigel O'Neill, but in the movies and the stories. He is a scientist. He's devised rockets. His latest rocket is sitting on a launch pad. It is his facility, his base. And he's got plans for a moon colony with great big domes to create atmosphere and food for the colonists who are going to be up there. And he's getting backing from the Ministry of Defence and other ministerial bodies in Whitehall, don't you know. But they pulled the plug because his rocket, as they've worked out, is just a nuclear bomb. There is a fault on it and he knows it, but no, we just need more time. We can get this right, we just need more time, more money. I know I can get this right. Yeah, but you're sending someone into space in what is just a bomb, a nuclear bomb. You need to bear that in mind. It's going to play a very crucial part in saving the planet. So his funding gets pulled and they say, look, if you want to carry on any of this sort of business, you're going back to school, Quatermass. Huh? What? You're going to go and learn robotics, rocketry, quantum physics. You're going to learn it all over again from scratch because we don't like what you've done so far, despite the fact that he saved the world in the Quatermass Experiment. Although, without him, there wouldn't have been a threat to the world. He sent the rocket up in the first place, which came back with an astronaut who's infected with plankton from the ether and becomes a huge tentacled octopoid monstrosity threatening all of mankind. So Quatermass, it's the yin and yang, it's the karma of science. You create things, wow, for the betterment of mankind, and it turns around and blows half the world apart. The yin and the yang. But anyway, the film starts off in a hurry. Quatermass is driving along the road, going back to his facility, and he encounters a young couple, a girl and her passenger, her boyfriend called Chris. Another guy called Chris. You don't get many Chris's in movies, so every time you do get one, I'm kind of like, yes! But this Chris is in a bad way. Yes, something's happened. He's delirious and he's trying to get the wheel and they're going all over the place. Chris has got a huge, big thing on his face. A huge stick-on. Special effects by Phil Leakey again, and they're great. This scar looks like a V, but it's raised and broken skin with a big V on it, and he's all over the show. And they almost smash into Professor Bernard Quatermass. He drives off the road, then catches up with him, and the guy gets out the car, and the woman's trying to get him back. What are you doing? Are you trying to commit suicide? Are you maniacs? No, there's something wrong with him. They get him back to the car, and the girl explains that they used to live in a little town called Winnenden Flats, and they were going back there for a picnic. But something hit the ground. We heard a noise, whoosh, as something hit the ground. It was a rock, but the rock was hot, and as soon as he touched it, Chris touched it, it burns him. And Quatermass is like, rocks aren't hot, rocks don't burn people. Obviously he's not heard of lava, which is molten rock, and will burn. So some scientist he is. No wonder he's going back to school. Anyway, he's confused by this, and he takes the rock, which they've actually got hold of. It's wrapped up. He takes the rock and drives into hospital. You don't hear from them again, by the way, and that's a failing of the movie. The film has got a lot of errors, whereas the first movie, Quatermass Experiment, is nice and fluid and tight and cohesive. This one is a much bigger, more ambitious production, and in cutting all of the dialogue and the characters from the TV version, you do jettison quite a bit of narrative elements which would be crucial to making it make more sense. But we'll come on to all of that. He goes back to his facility, explains to William Franklin, who's Brand, and Brian Forbes as Marsh, his two main guys who were there, and the launch pad is in the background with a rocket, a nice silver sentinel sitting there. It's a matte painting, of course. A lot of matte paintings in these movies, and they're all excellent. It's sitting there in the background, and he's pissed off, and a lot of sort of criticism of Quatermass in these first two movies, Brian Donlevy's interpretation, is that he's nasty, brusque, taciturn, a curmudgeon. He certainly is in the first one. He's not a good guy. He's not a likeable chap in the first movie. He's altogether different in this. He's humanistic, he's compassionate, he's warm, he's an action man as well, and he's looking after everybody. He's doing the best he can, and he's taking the fight to the threat. But at this moment, he's pissed off because he's been run off the road, for God's sake. He's lost the funding, so he takes it out on Forbes and Brand. You know, our moon colony project, all his plans, throws them in the bin. That's what they said. Bin it, ministry bastards. So he rides roughshod over them because they've noticed something as well. They've got their radar screens and they've got a big sort of antenna dish, satellite dish on the roof, and they're picking up tons and tons of things dropping from the heavens. Where are they landing? Well, they appear to be landing somewhere 90 miles away. 90 miles away, right? Finally, Quatermass comes to his senses. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take it out on you guys, but you know, listen, I was almost run off the road, but can you take a look at this rock? This rock supposedly burned somebody, you know, and like I've seen the mark on his face. It's weird, it's strange. Just see what you can find out about this rock. And they go like, well, hang on a minute. There's things dropping. Where did this happen? They said, oh, it was about 90 miles away from here. This film has a lot of coincidences as well, which are a bit, when you watch it a lot, and I've seen it a fair bit lately in preparation for this, and I noticed a lot of really jarring coincidences. People just being in the right place at the right time, just move the story forward. And this 90-mile thing, Winnenden Flats, which is our prime location in the movie, where exactly is this place? Anyway, they show him, look, all these little dots, are they meteorites? But they're landing somewhere, he's done like a periphery, 90 miles away. Right, okay, well, check this thing out. Winnenden Flats. What's Winnenden Flats? Well, they work out that there's a new town has been built. This film, Nigel Neal wrote this because after the Second World War, a lot of people were bombed out during the Blitz and their homes were just destroyed. Now, they didn't rebuild those homes, well, not for a long time. But what they did do in, I think, 3, maybe 4 or 5 waves across the entire UK, they built what was called new towns. And there was a lot of distrust with the government. After the Second World War, the UK and, well, the West, US and the UK certainly, were prosperous. After wars, if you're the victor, things are great. You've got the spoils. Industry is huge. And throughout the later 40s and into the early 50s, it was boom time. But not when these new towns would be. They built them because of the boom time. But then it declined again. And a lot of people were distrustworthy of the government's idea of these new towns. When I say new towns, a lot of them were built as additions to towns that already exist, but some were built from scratch. And they work out that Winnenden Flats was a town that's been bombed out. The idea was you're going to put people who've been dispossessed by the Blitz, move them into these houses and find them work. People call them commuter towns as well, but that's not quite the same thing. The new towns were often built where a new factory or a new facility, a new energy plant was going to be built, so the people living there would have work there. You can see how this was a grand idea, but it did bleed into a lot of, as I say, distrust of the government, that what their real purposes were. Cheers, y'all. And Nigel Neal tapped into that. So Quatermass says, look, hang on a minute, look, let's go up there, let's go and check this out. You, Marsh, you've got Brand, William Franklin, who did the great TV show Master Spy in the 70s. He may have clawed into 1980 as well, which was a big espionage game show, which when I was a kid, I loved it, although I can barely remember anything that happened in it now. But Brand, you stay here. Marsh, you're coming with me. Marsh is played by a fella called Brian Forbes. And Brian Forbes went on to become, he was a recognisable face in the 50s and 60s in movies, but he went on to become a screenwriter, a director of award-winning ability, and he became the head of a film studio as well. So he moved on quite a bit. But Quatermass and Forbes go, Marsh go up there, drive up there again. There's a lot of driving in this movie from places, this 90-mile thing. I'm not sure where Quatermass's base, his facility is meant to be, but 90 miles north of that is Winnenden Flats. And they're trying to find it on the map. And Marsh is going, well, we take the Carlisle Road. The Carlisle Road. Carlisle is just before Scotland. From London, it's about 190 miles, I think. And it's a long way away. And you see them driving along, and they take a turn, and there's a sign saying to Carlisle and the north. Well, wherever they are, they're not that far from London, as it turns out, because Quatermass drives to and from London a fair bit as well, from his facility. So the geometry and the geography of the place of this movie is all over the show. It really is. I know they condensed things down from the TV show, but they've condensed fucking the size of the UK as well. So it doesn't make any sense. They use an AA book as well. I like this. Use the AA book then if you can't find. They're trying to find their way up there. But when they turn the corner and that sign to Carlisle is there, that's an RAC sign. So that we can't just mention the AA. We've got to mention the RAC as well. And I kind of like that. That they play one off against the other and both get given a bit of screen time. And he starts taking all these weird roads which go nowhere. And if they go anywhere, they go to like a fenced-in Ministry of Defence site. You can't enter here. Shoot to kill policy and all this. It's Area 51. So wherever they go, they're confronted by this. And then they finally drive down this road which stops nowhere. It just stops. It's a concrete road, not a tarmac road. It just stops. So they get out, and there's another fence there, and it's got this big sign saying, do not enter Ministry of Defence property and all this. And Marsh is about to step off into the rubble and all that, and Quatermass is like, no, don't do that. Don't step on that stuff. It might be mined or whatever else. Who knows? So they get back in the car and they drive off. But as they drive off, these strange security guards appear. 3 of them from out of the trees. And they've got gas masks on, and they've got Thompson submachine guns, and strange little helmets, and very Nazi-like uniforms. And we're going to see a lot of these guys, as usual. But they find themselves on another road, and suddenly Quatermass pulls up, and it's like a hillside, but they're on the slope of the hill, and he pulls up, and he goes, oh my God. And Marsh is going, what have you seen? And as they get out the car, a lovely matte painting of a huge facility, a massive factory plant with huge domes. And he goes, I don't believe it. It's our moon project. That's my colony. It's here. They've built it here. And like Marsh is like, oh my God, but it can't be, can it? But look at the domes, look at everything. Look at all the structures. It's exactly what we planned. Because back at his facility, and we've already seen it, is a model reproduction of what they intend to put on the moon. And it's all these domes and a big factory plants and spires and a launch pad and all that. And it's there at Winnenden Flats. As they get in there on this slope, they go, but it's all rubble everywhere. Well, this must be what's left of the old town, Winnenden Flats. They've rebuilt. They built that plant, that facility on the site of the old town. Marsh finds something. He said, look, there's bits of the meteorites. They're here. And he's like, yeah. And they're both looking through all this stuff. And then Marsh goes, look at this one. This one's intact. And he picks it up. And of course, Quatermass is like, be careful with that. Marsh, be careful. You know what happened to that guy I ran into in the car. And suddenly it goes, tss, it bursts. Steam comes out. And he goes, holds his face. And Quatermass goes, Marsh, on your face, look, there was something alive. Well, we don't see that, but Marsh takes his hand down and he's got this big mark on his face. The raised flesh, the lacerations, and the V sign is there. Like what was on the other guy, Chris. I say, Marsh, are you alright? And Marsh just goes, oh, he's delirious and all that. He collapses. Marsh, come here. He tries to pick him up. Next thing, a siren goes off. And suddenly, jeeps of these strange security guards, armed with Thompson submachine guns, gas masks on. A lot of them wear gas masks. Some of them do not. But anyway. And they pull up. Don't say a word. And they grab Marsh and they put him in the back of one of these jeeps. And like Quatermass is going, like, look, he needs medical assistance. Are you going to take care of him? What are you going to do? Where are you going? And as he argues, one of these bastards with his Thompson just goes, fuck off, and slugs him with the butt of the submachine. And poor old Quatermass fucking gets toppled down the hill. And he's like, oh, his head's fucking big bashed noggin. And they pick him up, put him in his car. And he's like, well, what are you going to do with my friend? What are you going to take? My Marsh, look, he needs a doctor. Like, and this guy just goes, go now. So they send him off. And what Quatermass does, he drives into what is the new town. Actually filmed in the real life new town then of Hemel Hempstead. And it's obviously in development at the time. There's still piles of rubble there, but it's all new houses and new streets. And he stops a passerby. He says, like, I need the police. And she goes, police? Don't have any police here. And he's like, well, you must have someone in charge. There must be someone in charge. Well, we've got the committee, love. They have the committee house just down the road. Turn right and then it's on the left. And like, so he drives up there and he meets a fella called Dawson with his secretary. And he's like, I've had an accident and my friend has been taken away to that factory and I need the police. And they go, don't have any police here. We're law-abiding citizens, aren't we, Miss Havisham? Yes, we are. And he's like, well, no, I need the police. Something's happened here. Well, everyone here works for the facility. Oh, it's a great place. Nothing to worry about there. He'll be in the best of care and all that. Like, he picks up the phone to phone the police, and they make him stop. He said, "Oh, screw this. Where's the police station?" Oh, it's about 15 miles away or a 15-minute drive away, whatever. So off he goes, and once he's left, the phone rings, and like Dawson's going like, played by Charles Lloyd Pack. Oh no, there's nothing to worry about. No, it's all taken care of. No need for police, because obviously Quatermass got through to the operator wanting police. I'm enjoying this. Not sat and drank a bottle of whiskey here on camera for a while, and it probably won't last long now. Incidentally, I'm playing Chris Young's score for the Golden Globus Toby Hooper Invaders from Mars, because this film this story adheres to William Cameron Menzies' 1950 sci-fi classic Invaders from Mars. It also brings in The Invaders, the TV show, and it brings in Halloween 3. Again, we'll talk about this a lot more. And as with the previous Quatermass movie, Quatermass Xperiment, it brings in the Incredible Melting Man. The Quatermass movies were influenced by other things, but their influence spread exponentially throughout the genre and created great other sci-fi horror, blob movie masterpieces. But Quatermass is that stepping stone, and it's a bloody big one, and a massively important one. So Quatermass, where does he go next? Oh, he goes to the police station. He does go to the cop shop, and they're like, oh, what, your friend's been taken away. Well, we don't get any trouble at the plant. And he's like, look, I need to know what's happened to him. I was assaulted. Do you want to make a complaint? You want to make a complaint of assault? Yes, I do. Right, well, I'll have to write a letter to the chief commissioner. And like Quatermass just goes, oh, fuck it, I'm going to cut corners. I'm going to speed this process up. I'm going to Whitehall. So he does. He goes back to his place first and tells Brand, like Marsh has gone. This thing opened up. and something, just for a second I saw something alive, like a black bubble on his face, and then it was gone. We don't see that, by the way. Anyway, in the first movie, he had a great ally in Inspector Lomax of Scotland Yard. And Lomax was played by, oh God, the guy whose name I always get wrong. Did I write it down here? I bet you I didn't. George Baker? George Baker? Oh, I hope I got that right. I bet you I've got it wrong. He played Dixon as Doc Green, and he's great in the Quatermass Experiment. But it's a fellow called John Longden. John Longden plays Lomax here, and he's good, but he's not the same. Although the two of them have a rapport because they've both been through an adventure before. So Quatermass goes and tells him, and he's like, well, this is preposterous. He explains the whole thing, what's happened. He said, look, Quatermass, if anyone else had said this to me, I wouldn't believe them, but we've been through some shit together with that giant, monstrous plant man, from outer space. And you were right that time, so I'll believe you. So he was like, well, but this place, what's it for? Quatermass, I shouldn't be telling you any of this. But you know what that big factory plant is at Winnenden Flats? And he goes, yeah, I know something about it. And it transpires that this base at Winnenden Flats is making a food substance for mankind. Really? That's why I'm wearing Soylent Green. Remember, Soylent Green is people. poor Chuck Heston at the end of that movie. Classic. But it's making food. And it's like, well, how come we don't know about this? Well, it's shrouded in secrecy and all this. But if you really want to find, I want to get into that plant. My friend is there. I want to find out what's going on. I don't believe, if it's for the betterment of mankind to make food, why do you need guards and guns? I was like, that's a very good point. Right, so if you really want to get in there, I know someone who can help you. An MP, Mr. Broadhead, Vinnie Broadhead, played by Tom Chatto, who is actually the poster boy for this movie, but not in a glamorous, flattering way. Oh no. So it's like, look, if I can get you a meeting with him, maybe you can get the ball rolling on this. Don't forget, you didn't hear it from me. But Lomax makes the call to Whitehall. The call to Whitehall. Mr. Broadhead, please. Yes, I've got somebody who wants to talk about an installation you're very interested in. What can I trust him? Bernard, are you trustworthy? Yes, you can trust him. So that day, Quatermass goes and meets Vinnie Broadhead. He meets him, Tom Chatto, in Whitehall, and he's pacing up and down. This is Vinnie. He's like, yeah, you can't pull the wool over Vinnie's eyes, not Vinnie Broadhead. Is it Broadhead or Broadhurst? I've got to get this right. Broadhead. Good God. Folks, just a bit of a word of advice. If you start reviewing movies like this, which you've watched a million times, everything, when you start speaking about it live, everything becomes jumbled. And you make your notes and all that, which I never used to do. Regular viewers who've been with me since the start know that I didn't use any notes at all for years. I used to be able to pluck names and dates and everything out of thin air, and I was always right. I'm older now, and the whiskey's killed off a hell of a lot of my brain cells. I didn't have that many to begin with. So now everything gets kind of jumbled, but just bear with me. Vinnie Broadhead, and he's like, look, yeah, there's something going on there, but Quatermass, I realised something. Take a look out the window, and we look at the Thames. He said, what do you see out there? He's like, ships, freighters, trawlers, tugs, barges, distribution. He said, I've looked into this plant. There's no distribution. There's no marketing. Now you tell me, what kind of, if we're making a food supplement for mankind, how is it going to be transported anywhere? There's something else going on. Well, somebody must have been in there. Have you been in there? No, I've not been in there. I'm waiting for my clearance to come through. In fact, it's coincidence again. It's coming through today. So just when he meets Quatermass, his clearance is going to come through to go and visit this place. Timing's everything. Quatermass is going, but somebody must have seen it. He said, oh, there are other people who've been there. But they come back and they say nothing. What, you mean someone's got to them? He said, oh, no. They've just had the wool pulled over their eyes and they're just towing the party line. But they won't do that to Vinnie Broadhead. Oh, not Vinnie Broadhead. No, they won't. And then suddenly, Mr. Broadhead, oh, is this my pass? And it's none other than John Van Eysen playing someone from the facility at Winnenden Flats, who is all nice and polite and refined. John Van Eysen played Jonathan Harker in Horror of Dracula, as the Americans say, but Dracula. Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing. The one that everyone says, well, Curse of Frankenstein with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing again, 1958, put Hammer on the map. Everyone says this. Dracula, shortly afterwards, cemented it and made them a global force of movie making to be reckoned with. Yeah, unprecedented global success for those two movies, but without these two Quatermass films, you wouldn't have had them. So they're the place in history and the importance of Quatermass Xperiment and Quatermass 2 is unparalleled, because you wouldn't have got Curse of Frankenstein and Dracula afterwards. But John Van Eysen went on to play Jonathan Harker in Dracula. And he's all very refined and very polite. And it's like, yeah, here's your pass. And he's like, well, you got your pass now, so you're going? Yeah, I'm going this afternoon. The trip to visit the place is this afternoon. Oh, again, coincidence. Right, well, but Quatermass, you should have been with me like 6 months ago. I've been trying to get this for 6 months now. Blah, blah, blah. Well, can I go with you? Is there room for a guest? Oh, I'm sure we can do that. Who? This gentleman here? Yes, I'm sure we can arrange that. So we're leaving in an hour's time. Well, that gives us time for a spot of lunch. And then, an hour's time, they and a bunch of other MPs, including a female MP who gets wolf whistled very shortly afterwards, get into 2 Rolls Royces. Now, remember what I said? Winnenden Flats is 90 miles away from Quatermass's facility, which is nowhere near London. And Quatermass has just driven to London, right? Left his car there and got in the Rolls Royce with these people. And off they go. Now, that's London. If Winnenden Flats is meant to be anywhere near Carlisle, why would you have Carlisle, the Carlisle Road? You know, that's 190 miles away from London. You can't do that. And they get there in short order. I know, it doesn't really matter, but it is what it is. And you get up there and they drive into the Shell Haven oil refinery, which gave the TV show for the BBC full access, and they filmed extensively there for the TV show, and they film extensively in this movie at the Shell Haven oil refinery, which is in Stanford-le-Hope, Essex. What wonderful production value they get out of this place. This place is pipes and tubes and concrete and buildings and huge towers and gantries and pipes and tubes and more pipes and tubes. It's vast, and luckily it's mainly automated. Even back then, when it was new, it was automated. There was only a dozen people working there, a dozen men worked there. So when Val Guest and crew arrived, he said, can we film? Do whatever you want. The place is yours. Film wherever you want. There's no access denied. And we can get our guys out the way. No worries. Perfect. A lot of machine gun fire takes place. And he said, you are using blanks in those guns, aren't you? Oh, yeah. It's a fucking oil refinery. So, but it's got those great big, it's got huge drums and cylinders and, you know, housing platform things, which are really there, which obviously have the oil and all the elements that go into refining the oil, and then all the gazillion pipes and tubes which transport it around. But The film has these great big domes, these great big steel domes, huge, about 200 feet tall. Well, they're there, but they're matte paintings again, and they look great. Don't get me wrong, they look great. And so they all arrive there, and everything is all, there's a checkpoint they got to go through, show your passes please and all that, like. And then they get out and they have a little walk around, and Quatermass and Vinnie Broadhead are kind of like, yeah, they're working together. Yes, we don't believe a bloody word of this. You know, something else is going on here. And you won't fool Vinnie Broadhead. Quatermass spies medical centre. That's where they must have taken Marsh. So, do you fancy taking a look in there? So as the cortege is being led on by John Van Eysen, he doesn't have a name in the movie. I don't think he does anyway. But he's just like the corporate, tour guide thing. But you can't trust him, can you? No. He leads them on, and these two make a break for it and run down, and they get into this medical facility, medical centre, and this guy approaches them. What do you want? Yeah, well, my friend was brought here last night. Where is he? I want to see him. No one was brought here last night. No one. Well, he's got to be in there. Is that where the hospital beds are? Push the doors open, and there's a lot of hospital beds, but there's no patient there. Marsh is not there. It's like, but my friend was brought in, and like, well, there's no one here. You can get out now. And then John Van Eysen, the tour guide, comes back in. Gentlemen, you seem to have got lost. Join the party again. Please come along now. Come along. We haven't got much time. We've got a tight schedule to keep to. Come along now. So off they go again. They're at the back of the line, kind of grumbling. Now, you've had some workers going past, and they wolf whistle at the female MP, and Vinnie Broadhead goes, well, no abnormal behaviour there. Can you imagine that these days? They'd be arrested for that and banged up in prison for that, because you could commit horrendous murders and the police wouldn't bother with you. But if you commit anything, oh, you said a naughty word, well, we'll come down with the riot police and we'll drag you and put you in prison for the rest of your life. Because that's the way the law is in the UK at the moment. Anyway, they wolf whistle here and like, oh, that seems to be normal. And the workers are the people from the new town, the new version of Winnenden Flats, Hemel Hempstead in reality. And so everything seems normal, but as they're walking along again, like, Vinnie Broadhead goes like, so these great big cylinders, what's in there? Well, that's the food. It's the raw version of the food. It then gets processed and goes along all these pipes. A lot of fucking pipes. All these pipes. Yeah, yes, it goes along these pipes. But you're going to see that. Well, isn't that a viewing window up there? Massive metal steps going up to this thing. Is that a viewing platform? Yes, it is. But can I go up? No. We're going to take you inside one of the big silos, and then you can see what takes place. All your questions will be answered at the end. You're going to see everything. And as they carry on walking, they come out from another bunch of tubes and pipes and all that. And suddenly, John Van Eysen goes, "Where's the other man? The other man's gone." And even Bernie Q didn't notice that Vinnie Broadhead's frigged off. He was here a minute ago. Where's he gone? And they've actually been taken into an interior of one of these silos, and they're on a big gantry. Vinnie's not there, and in fact, I jumped ahead. They haven't noticed that Vinnie's not there at this moment, and this guy Van Eysen's going like, "Look, we're going to go down there." At the same time as he says that, 3 of these mysterious guards, but in sort of chemical suits, walk up down below and look up at him wordlessly and look dead suspicious and very dubious. And they go like, "Well, hang on, where's the other man?" Vinnie's not there. "Oh, it doesn't matter, we'll get it, we'll catch up with him later, but we're going to go down there." And the female MP goes, "Well, you're going to go first, I haven't got a head for heights." "Oh, not to worry." And he goes to a door, John Van Eysen, and this big steel door bulkhead begins to slide shut. Bernie Q gets the spidey sense tingling. "Why are you shutting that door?" "Oh, nothing, just security." Fucking makes a break for it. As the door shutting, he's wedged in the door, and then John Van Eysen's trying to drag him back through. Bernie Q forces him off, the door shuts. Bernard's off, fucking running. Brian Don Levy fucking pegging it around this facility. And the woman goes like, what's happening? Oh, it's just for your security, don't worry. We're going down there now. I don't want to go down there. And he grabs her and they're going to be forced down there. Remember what I said? You know, people have been there before, but when they come back, they say nothing about it. Oh, they just toe the party line. What's happening to these people? They're getting brainwashed. Sorry, my husky's just turned herself upside down there completely. It's like she's crawling up the refrigerator using only her belly. I'd show you, but it'd be a bit indignant for her. Cheers, y'all. So Quatermass runs out and he's going like, Broadhead! It sounds like you're bragging. I've got a great big Broadhead! Broadhead! And then suddenly he looks up at one of these big silos. The door opens, he hears a scream. And there's Vinnie Broadhead coming out as the poster image. And he's black. He's like the tar man from Return of the Living Dead. The steam coming off him. He's screaming. And it's a really horrible, horrible effect. They have covered him in this inky, black sludge, Phil Leakey's special effects. The steam coming off him. They've packed air, solids of air onto him as well. So when he comes down the steps, he smears huge gobbets of just grizzly shit on the big white, background. Like that. And he's screaming and he's coming down these steps and he's tripping around all over the place. In reality, it took about 5 or 6 takes to get this right. It kept going wrong. And Tom Chatter, who plays Vinnie Broadhead, his wife is a casting director, and she got him the part in the movie. And on about the last take, he's covered in this horrible sludge. It looks really bad, and the fact it's steamy as well makes you, oh god. But he's going, it burns, it's burnt. He's being burned alive in this stuff. He's melting basically. And he said that, at the time, like, I'm going to speak to my wife about this. She fucking got me this job. I'm never doing this shit again. Like, I've thrown a few swear words in there, but that's basically what he was saying. And he stumbles down the last few steps. And Quatermass is like, what kind of, no, don't touch me. And his voice gets really high pitched and it's agonized. Don't touch me. It burns, it burns. He's like, what happened? I went up to see what was going on in there. And he slipped and fell into what's supposed to be the food being made. The raw food to feed the masses. It ain't food. It's poison. It burns. It's killing me. And he does die right there. And it's fucking horrible. Quatermass gets a bit on his trench coat. And but suddenly the guards are after him. And the Thompson submachine goes. And you've got, because it's all metal everywhere, you've got pew, 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 all these fucking ricochet sound effects. Pew, 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 pew. It's great. And fucking Bennett's fucking legging it. There's one shot of him going over a lot of ductwork, and he hides from a jeep going over a bridge. But that's not Bernard Quatermass. That's not Brian Donlevy. That's a stuntman. But you do have Brian Donlevy fucking legging it down towards the camera, ducking behind things and getting out of the way of gunfire, and then stealing a Rolls Royce and fucking barreling out of there. Now, his escape from the facility is aided by, in the TV show, there's a sequence which is very controversial where a family's having a picnic on a beach near the facility, and the guards find them and they machine gun them, and they have their bodies in the back of a truck and they're taking them to the facility. And when in the film you don't see that, but basically what's happened is, as he's bombing down in one of these Rolls Royce vehicles, God, you can tell I don't drive a fucking car. The security gates are there, but the gates open because there's a truck there coming in. Now that truck is meant to be carrying the bodies of this family, but that's not in the movie. But it's just good timing for him, another great coincidence. And he fucking bombs it through, and they're all like, fucking great. These guys have American Thompson submachine guns, but they're dressed in sort of like grey Nazi uniform, woolen Nazi grey uniforms, but their magazines, their ammo magazines, are genuine German World War II ammo mags on the belts and the suspenders, and so it gives them a very sort of Nazi look, a very fascist look, and they've got these strange sort of domed helmets on. Again, domes, I suppose, but you know, with the whole big dome thing. It's important to note that Vinnie fell into a silo. That's not one of the domes. The domes are housing something else. The food is getting made in these things and piped through, to the big domes. As I say, I'm playing Invaders from Mars, Christopher Young's score for that. And he created a very avant-garde score. You're hearing the bit, he was forced to redo the score because he said, your stuff is fucking bizarre. He did music concrete, all atonal stuff and dissonance. He recorded drills and machine presses and all sorts of bizarre things, and then tape recorded them and then manipulated them through a synthesizer to make this. Well, but he said, I had to go and make a fucking warm melodic score as well. So you're hearing that now, which he fucking hated. But anyway, so Quatermass gets away again, and he goes and sees Lomax. So the fucking driving that's going on is ridiculous. Goes back to see Lomax, Inspector Lomax, and John Longdon in this version. And he's going like, well, are you sure? Yeah, Vinnie Broadhead fell into this vat and it came out, it was burning him alive. It's poison. They're making poison there. They're going to kill mankind. You know. And he's like, well, but gets the newspaper out. He said, but look at the headline here. Vinnie Broadhead's just gone on a big ministerial mission to to Botswana or fucking wherever. And he's like, it's a lie. He's dead. He died in front of me. I know it's a lie. And what about the other ones? Well, they'll come back and they'll be brainwashed as well. Like all the guards, they've all got the mark on them, these guards. It's like the mark, something is in those meteorites. Something gets into them. And he goes like, well, okay, so have you got authority to make this public and a huge emergency? And he's like, well, I haven't, but I know a man who has. The Chief Commissioner. I'll go and see him now. Okay. So he goes to see the Chief Commissioner, and he's just sitting there, just signing stuff. What he wants. Well, there's something very important to him, sir. I need to get permission to do. And he sees on the Commissioner's hand a raised patch of broken skin with a big V on it. And he's like, well, go on. What is it you need me to do? Well, the so-and-so case. I was just thinking maybe we could let him go and he might lead us back to some other associates from the crime. Well, that's your job. You take care of it. You don't need me for that. Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. Shouldn't have bothered you, sir. Sorry. Runs back to Quatermass. He's one of them as well. And they realise that this thing has been building for so long because there's people in high office have been taken over. They've got the V on them somewhere, meteorites, or they've been taken in there and been made to join the aliens, for that is what it is. Aliens. Quatermass has also found that one of his other associates, one of his other guys at his own facility can you make the meteorites like sort of like a lozenge shape of stone? So like, can you find out what shape this thing really was? And when he goes back, he's like, well, yeah, and it's a projectile with fins on it. He said, but my God, that takes brain power and determination and decision making, intelligence. And they're like, so there's something out there which is invading. And he says, well, when they open these things, the rocks, because when they hit our atmosphere, they get all rockified and all that. Like, I don't know. I'm not Professor Brian Cox, am I? I don't understand all this stuff from space. And they all fossilized and, calcified. Hey, put that in there. And then they break open on Earth. But he said ammonia and methane come out. That's what knocks people out and all that. And then they get this mark, but something jumps out at the same time. He said there's something alive in these things that are coming down. And they're coming down. There's still tons of them on the screens coming down all the time. Like, He works out aliens are in there, and the little black goo that leaps out and gets on people's faces or their necks, it must burrow through and it takes over their consciousness, so it lives through them, so they become part of a hive sort of mind. Now, he reasons that they can't exist in a world of oxygen. A leap of conjecture there. So, but they need a host that can, so that's why they leap into these people, and then they've all been working together. How long has that facility been there? Well, it's been there over a year. Well, so, and they work out that initially on that site was a little MOD research lab, just a little nothing, a couple of porter cabins, that was it. And then the aliens realised we can use this, it's in the middle of nowhere, and we've got that new town getting built. We can use all the population there to build as construction workers, to build our site, our facility. We can use them, and anyone in power we need, we can bring them in and put our alien intelligence into them. So they're all like zombies, they're acting for the alien influence. In the TV version, they were given the name the Ammonites. I think it was called Ammonites. Or was that from Doctor Who? I don't know. Ammonites, I'm sure it was. And where are they coming from? Well, we thought, again, coincidence. Well, while you were gone, we picked up a reading on an asteroid travelling on the dark side of the Earth. There's a dark side of the moon, which we never get to see, never. Because the way the moon's orbit and the Earth goes around the Earth and the way we move as well, that it's never turned towards us, never. There's no dark side of the Earth, but anyway, it is what it is. But it's in orbit around the dark side of the Earth. Well, that must be it. Must be their staging post, this asteroid. They're there, and they're sending themselves down in these little tiny projectiles, and then they're latching onto people, creating zombies, and and they're going to take over the world. Well, what's this food then? It's food for them, not for us. It's food for them. Right. So what's in these great big domes? Well, we're going to find out, aren't we? Enter into this Sid James from Carry On Movies. Sid James, fucking classic, and a good actor as well. And he plays initially drunken journalist Jimmy Hall, who happens to be at the cop shop. Lomax's, it's old Scotland Yard, not new Scotland Yard, it's actually the old building. And I actually worked in a building which was based on old Scotland Yard's brickwork and design. I worked in a building like that, which did look like old Scotland Yard, to be honest. And but Jimmy Hall has arrived at the cop shop. He's pissed as a fart. Like, I need a story. I've got a column and a half to fill, and I've got to do it by dawn tomorrow. Come on, you must have must be arsonists around. Must be something going on. No, the little cops look, no, Jimmy, there's nothing going on. It's all quiet tonight. Everyone's law-abiding citizenry, peace-loving. He's like, no, tell me your life story then. Oh, you haven't got enough columns for that, Jimmy. And he wanders in while Bernard Quatermass and Lomax are discussing all this. The doorknob turns and they look because they know they can't. There's people around they can't trust. And the door bursts open and it's Jimmy. Hey, Lomax, you must have a story for me. Jimmy, get out of here. Go on. Fucking boots him out of fucking thing. I'm like, but we've got to alert the world to this, says Quatermass. And he goes, hang on a minute. Quatermass, if you can go public with this and tell the entire nation, something has to happen then, doesn't it? Wait there. Opens the door. Jimmy, come back here, Jimmy. And Quatermass is like, but hang on, he's a drunk. Listen, Jimmy Hall, when drunk, is clever. When sober, he's a genius. So the three of them, they go back to Bernard Quatermass's facility. Look, I said a lot of fucking travelling. There's a lot of toing and froing. How much mileage is obviously done. And they go back to Quatermass's place. And even Jimmy Hall says like a nice little in joke as well, because Brian Donlevy has his coffee. It's mainly alcohol, high spirits, and he's like that. And I discussed all that in the previous video. I'll come on to that again. And Sid James has got a mug of coffee and he's going like, you got any whiskey to put in this? And he's sobering up and all that. And they show him the moon colony model. And they give him all the evidence. They show him the fucking meteorites and all that. It's like, well, we're going to go up there. Well, I've got to get this story out by dawn. So again, but he's got to do it by, the first press of the newspaper. They're going to drive another 90 miles to go to fucking, it doesn't make any sense. Only Doctor Who could do this. With the TARDIS, you can't fucking do it. But hey, I think it's the time getting condensed of the story. They drive up there anyway, and they go to that committee room, and they're having a big fucking shindig, big party. This is great, this sequence, because why? Michael Ripper, the great Hammer stalwart. He plays a copper, he plays an innkeeper, a bartender, a peasant, a farmer, a whatever. He's fucking great. He makes every Hammer movie just that little bit better by being in there with that wonderful face and that wonderful characterized voice. He's magnificent. And he's behind the bar here, and he plays Ernie. And he's working with Sheila, the lovely Sheila, played by Vera Day. The great Percy Herbert is in this as well, in many Hammer movies, many other British movies. And in this, because he's younger, he has this bizarre quality. This is Percy Herbert, this bizarre quality. He plays a guy called, who does he play? I didn't write his character's name down, sadly, but he's clean shaven, and he looks like the younger, clean shaven Kurt Russell, crossed with, unbelievably, fake Scottish chef Gordon Ramsay. I say fake, he was born there, he never fucking lived there though. But good, craggy faced Gordon Ramsay, faced like the fucking lunar, crater filled fucking landscape. Ugliest twat on TV, but I do like him though. And but Percy Herbert looks like a cross between the two. It's like, how did that happen? How did you do that? Phil Leakey's makeup effects are outstanding. And he's there, he's doing it, he's dancing a drunken jig, and Vera Day playing Sheila goes, I can do this better, and nice flash of legs, a nanosecond of nickerage as well. Now, for those of you who are of a certain mentality, you can find nude pictures of Vera Day, and she is unbelievably gorgeous. I think she was last seen in a Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. Wasn't quite as attractive then, I'll be perfectly honest, but she's great in this. And so Jimmy, Sid James, Bernie Q and Lomax arrive there. Listen everybody, we've got to talk. They want to get into the plans. So Sid James comes up, he goes, I'm going to ask the barmaid, hey, any chance of a job at that factory? It's like, what, you want to work in a factory? What? You just come here for all that? And like, they're all kind of like, don't say nothing about it. There's propaganda signs all over this place. Loose lips, sink ships and all that kind of shit. Like, talk about your job, lose your job. The whole thing is shrouded in secrecy. But of course, these are just workers. They're not brainwashed. They're just told to keep fucking quiet about the place. And they don't like strangers in town, obviously. And Quatermass has been there before and caused a ruckus when he was saying, my friend's been taken in there and all this kind of shit. Like, we've got no police here. Well, we're law-abiding citizens, ain't we, Miss Havisham? Well, that guy's there, Charles Lloyd Pack as Dawson. And he's kind of like going, he's calling people over, he's going like, that guy, he caused trouble here last time. And suddenly, people are gathering around and what are you doing here and all this, like. And you've got the great Scottish actor, John Ray, playing MacLeod. Now, John Ray was in another Val Guest Hammer movie, The Abominable Snowman, which is fucking wonderful. You barely see, and that was known as The Creature in America. Again, another retitling. And you only see the Yeti in that. There's a few of them, but you only see them very briefly. They're just shadows and all, they've got a great big paw, but that's it. But at the end, you finally see the eyes lit up with pin lights very closely with all fur and stuff around and a big nose. But it's John Ray who plays that Yeti, and obviously there's no dialogue for him, but it's great, and he's a great character actor as well, and he's great in this movie. And this is a nice little tidbit there, trivia for you. And he joins and what are you guys doing here? And all this well, look, listen, folks, can you stop the music? Stop the music now. This is important. They've been here before. They caused trouble. Him especially. Well, that plant you're working at there, they're all lying to you. What do you know about the plants? What do you know about that? They're not making food. How do you know about making food? Because it's all meant to be a fucking secret. And he's like, they're making poison. What's he said? Percy Everett's like, who's talking about poison? Who's making poison? What's going on here? And they turn the music up and they get on the stage and they're trying to, look, this man's a scientist. This is Professor Bernard Quatermass. This is Lomax, a copper. We have no police here. So even the copper getting fucking, they don't want him. He's got no authority, no jurisdiction. Bernard Quatermass ushered on there. Over to you, Bernie Q. And he says, no, I don't know what you know about this place, but they're lying to you and all this. And then, in a great shock moment, a fucking bottle gets hurled at them. Now, when I first saw this film, I thought that was animated, because it just seems to go, does it go in front of them or behind them? And you hear it go, and they go, oh, and the mob surge on them. A bottle does get thrown, but it goes behind all three. But it lands right sort of, behind them. And it's quite oh, fucking hell. Having been on stage and had bottles thrown at me, I used to be a strippergram, by the way. I did, I'm not lying, I used to be a strippergram. I may have told this story before. And every one in, I think 6, maybe 7 gigs turns bad. Why? Because if you're stripping off and the girl or the woman is getting your dangly bits out of your thong, which they do, they can't help themselves, and they're getting involved, very often their boyfriend or husband and his mates are there too, and they don't like their missus acting that way. So I've been on stage with me, it totally, in the Emperor's clothes, and bottles have come hurling over. Bottles of blood. One bounced off my head in Chester one time, but you bounce it. Well, you didn't bounce off my head, but he's your compere and your chauffeur and your enforcer. These are big guys. These are guys with no necks, just many chins, but huge fucking shoulders. And they're older guys. They've been forcers, they've been wrestlers, they've been boxers, they've been prize fighters. These guys can fucking do anybody in. And he leaps on, gets his big jacket around you and gets you out of there, and he'll snot anyone that gets in the way. And that happened to me several times. It is fucking scary. You're nude. What can you do when you're nude? You're useless. Barefoot, broken glass. Fucking nasty. Anyway. But that sequence always reminds me of those days. And the mob try to get him out. And no, you don't understand. And as it all kicks off big time, whoosh, through the roof and through the stage floor, and meteorites come through. There's a girl with a tea trolley, an old girl, and she goes, and they go, oh my God, and they get in. Are you all right? Yeah, she's fine. But what went through the floor? So they all leap up there and they look through the hole, and it's just an overshoot. Overshoot? What's that like? Oh, it's from the plant. They happen at night normally, but it's all part of the process. What? Fucking things flying through the air. Stone fucking, how the hell this population accept that? It's just part of the process, don't worry about it. These are the aliens coming down, and it's missed the target area and it's gone through their roof. It's just, they never come out this far before, and it's a great sequence, and get everyone away, is she alright? Yeah, okay, everyone's fine. Look, I don't know what you think that is, but it's not what you think it is. It's alien. And they'll go, oh, shut up, and it's and then suddenly Sheila, Vera Day's gone through the hole in the floorboards and picked it up. She goes, look, it's still here. It's a bit warm. And Bernard Quatermass turns around and he's like, put it down. Put it on the floor now. His American accent really comes out in this sequence. But too late. Go, what's that on their neck? And she, bit of steam comes out the rocks. And then she goes, like that. And then pulls her hand away, and there's a great big splat with a V in it. She's like, And they go, Sheila! Everyone loves her, she's so fucking attractive. Everyone loves her. And like, oh my god, man, call a doctor, do this, do that, blah, 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 blah. Next thing, jeeps and sirens and our goon squad have turned up with their machine guns and their gas masks. Lomax and Professor Q have come out, and they see this, oh shit, you know, they're coming in. In the meantime, Jimmy Hall, Sid James, has gone on the phone behind the bar, and he's sending in, he's verbalising the story to make the headlines the next day. And he's like, come down to meteorites, people are killing it, and it's just like, yeah. And I'm like, but oh shit, get him out of there. Oh, maybe if he keeps down, he'll be all right. And our two guys hide behind the wall, and these fucking goon squad go in there, and like they have these sort of really bizarre contraption. Again, concertina thing with little pincers on the end, and they're trying to find, obviously, these overshoots or the meteorites, pick them up, and put them in something that's going to look after them, you know, with their own methane and ammonia atmosphere. Because Quatermass has surmised that's the atmosphere they live in, but on Earth, oxygen does not equate. So they go in there, and like Jimmy fucking sinks behind the bar like that, and he's like, blah, 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 blah. And in the background, they're looking at this thing and getting Sheila out the way and all that. And one guy just turns around, you can hear Jimmy nudges another guy, and they come around, and Jimmy gets up, and it's like, Sid James has the face of a chimpanzee, but rather remarkably, a bit younger here than his Carry On tenure. He looks a bit like Russell Crowe, I thought. And he's a good actor, and he goes, I think I've been seen. Yeah, I've been seen. And he just puts the phone down and stares at these goons, and then suddenly they just go. He's like, oh, and he hits the bar like that, and then goes, looks up again, and they machine gun him again, and he goes, oh, and then sinks down behind the bar, and it's a great death scene. It's fucking horrible because they're not bastards, and of course, our guys, they fucking killed him. So they get in a jeep and they fucking bomb it off. Oh no, they get in their car and bomb it off, I think. And they're on that same road now. Where are we going to go? We're going to go back to no, we're going to go back to the factory. We're going to go back to the facility. We're going to go in there. Not quite sure what Quatermass's plan is there. They know there's security checkpoints everywhere and guards everywhere. And there's just the two of them. What are they going to do? It ain't going to work, is it? But they bomb it along. And they're on... This location is in... Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, God. It's South Downs in Brighton. South Downs covers a huge area of southeast England. And but this is the Brighton area. And this is where Marsh, Quatermass's mate, who we haven't seen since, got... and then got whisked off. And they saw the plant for the first time, looking like the lunar colony. That area there is, I forgot it again. South Downs, Brighton. Fucking hell. And they're on that road again. And you're going to go there again later on. And they can see there's all like these goon squads, because there's tons coming through. William Franklin and on the other people at the Quatermass's base have seen fucking millions. There's loads coming in. It's a mass drop, a mass landing. So obviously times of the essence. There's fucking an army of these bastards coming through. So they're driving along that, and so this fucking guard is in the middle of the road, and they go, just go for him, and they fucking hit him in one take. It's obviously a dummy standing there. Poof, they fucking barrel over and run over him. All four wheels go over this guy. He's like, all crunched up. Quatermass gets out, and they go, oh God, look, they're everywhere. It's a mass drop and all this. Look, Lomax, you go back to London and tell everybody. How many fucking miles away is it? Again, this whole thing about geography and distance, it's just, you can't do, where are you going? I'm going to the factory. How are you going to get in there? I'm going to wear his uniform and I'm going to sneak in there looking like one of these guys. So Quatermass is now a man of action. He just run this guy over. Gets the machine gun, gets the fucking gas mask, puts the silly little knobhead helmet on, like, gets the jack boots on and the machine gun pouches, and off he goes. he actually gets in a jeep with other of the fucking squad of bastards. Lomax drives back. Now, in the meantime, because the Werekeys, led by Michael Ripper, Percy Herbert, John Ray, and Charles Lloyd Pack, they've machine gunned a guy that tried to warn us. They killed him in front of us. They took off Sheila completely. Don't know what's happened to her. There's a mob, an old Universal Monster Pictures mob. The torch-wielding fucking villagers marching up the road from the real Hemel Hempstead New Town, which is in the background. They're marching up like that, and Lomax comes speeding down, and Percy Herbert's in charge now. He's like, no, stand your ground, fill the road, don't let him through. Like, and Lomax gets out, everybody go back to your houses, like, no, the machine gunned the face off your friend. They're going up there, they're gonna fucking answer for this. He's like, no, you do more good by going back home. No, we're going up there now, mob-handed. Like, use the car, turn the car around, and like Lomax gets fucking dragged into it. He's a cop, he's like, oh fucking hell, I'm in a riot now. And as we know from Young Frankenstein, on the riot is an ugly thing. And they storm the gates. Anyway, in the meantime, Quatermass has got into the facility and is posing as one of these guys. And because it was a mass drop, they've got fucking tons of these aliens to ship into the big domes. Right, folks, this is what's happening. Quatermass watches everything, and in a neat little moment, as Val Guest says, if you have a character who's suddenly in disguise, you have to remind the audience that that's your guy. So there's a rather daft sequence. He's standing up in the back of this fucking Land Rover, big military Land Rover, and there's all these other goons around him. And he goes, as if like the mask is uncomfortable, he goes, oh. Shows his face and then puts the gas mask back on again, like, just to let you know that's him. And they get in there, and like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which again, very similar to this. Jack Finney's original novel, Don Siegel's original 1950s version, and of course every version ever since, especially Philip Kaufman's version from 1978, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I've covered it, reviewed it. Genius movie. They are now, there's a voice over the tannoy. Hurry along now, please, get everything in order, form an orderly line. And they're bringing all these, they've put the alien meteorites into canisters which have methane and ammonia so that the aliens can breathe, and they're going to plug them straight into these huge moon domes. And like, so Quatermass is watching all this taking place. Yeah, okay. Well, what's inside? But there's windows, little portholes. So he climbs up and has a little look in his gas mask, and his little eyes go like, because what's inside is a heaving mass of just, what the hell? A big blobby vegetable, shiny, wet, glistening, monstery, horrible patch of just nastiness. Big gnarly shrubbery. Slimy Omet is what it is. The aliens have been put in there. Some aliens get into people and take over them, but other aliens, they join together and form a huge mass. So in these 4 domes, you've got these things, these huge alien bastards are growing and shivering and trembling and making noises. And Quatermass is like, fucking hell. But as he's doing that, because he's not putting stuff in and he's not doing his job, other ones have begun to notice him and they're going like, staring at him. And he's like, and he walks down the steps, looks back again, and they begin to move. 3 of them begin to move on him. He's like, doesn't know what to do. But then the mob arrive at gate 4. Everybody, every special operative who's armed, Go to gate 4. We have an emergency. Go to gate 4. Take your weapons. So everyone rushes off. So Quatermass is like, phew. Dodge the bullet there, quite literally. Again, coincidence, you know, and at the gate, they rampage up there. And Lomax is saying, look, it's all fortified, you can't get through. He's trying to implore, I don't know why, you know, one man ain't going to stop a riot when people are so inclined. And but the armed guards are there. It's important to note, one of the armed guards there is, and you see his face, he hasn't got a mask on. He's a great Hammer stuntman. I forgot his name now. He's in a lot of other movies as well, beyond Hammer. But he's a stuntman. And there's a lot of stunts in this movie as well. But he gets a bit of a speaking on, yeah, we're in trouble here. There's a mob, 150 strong of the villagers, you know. And, but again, coincidence-wise, fucking trucks turn up with more of the aliens. So they've got to open the gates to let these things come through. So of course the mob surges through, jeeps come through, truck comes through, they leap on the back of the rear one, and I thought, this is a horrible sequence really. I'm stunned they got away with this, because it's a riot and it's mob mentality, and you see people, the guards, I mean we know that they're bastards, so it's okay I suppose, getting machine gun, getting clobbered, beaten, kicked and stamped on, rifle butted, you know, it's in there. And a lot of the villagers get machine gunned as well, and Lomax gets involved, and they win. So they storm through, and a great big James Bond style battle takes place. Think You Only Live Twice, Blofeld's Stronghold, but especially think Spy Who Loved Me, and even Goldfinger, where you've got running battles through like machinery and stuff. Villagers are going down, but these guards are getting taken out. It's fucking great, to be honest. And it is violent. The body count in this movie is actually colossal, because everyone's getting fucking wasted here. And anyway, they get into, well, most of the villagers seem to get wiped out, but our cortege, our main guys, Charles Lloyd Pack, Dawson, Percy Herbert, name I've forgotten, character name, Michael Ripper, Ernie, John Ray, McLeod get in there, and is Lomax there? Yeah, Lomax is there. Of course, Lomax is there. Fucking hell, what am I thinking? And they get into like what turns out to be the actual control room, which allows the process to move the food into the big silos, the big domes, to feed the aliens. And so they're there, they get holed up there. But as they get in there, these two guards on the gantry put their guns on, and suddenly they get fucking blown away by another guard who goes, don't shoot, it's me, it's Quatermass. Brian Donlevy doesn't say Quatermass, he says Quatermass. And it always sounds dead bizarre, Quatermass. It's like he can't wait to get the word out, Quatermass. He takes out all the syllables and just does it as one blurge, Quatermass. And don't shoot, it's me. So Quatermass has fucking wasted people as well. He's a fucking gung-ho scientist boffin hero. He's great in this movie. And it's him, it's the scientist. Yeah. Well, look, where are we? We're in the control centre. Hang on, what are these gauges and dials? Well, it pumps all the methane and the ammonia. What if we turn it off? Brian Donlevy speaks with I can't do his voice. I've tried and I can't do it. He speaks like he's got an underbite. What if we turn off the ammonia and the methane and we just use the oxygen? We pump oxygen. That's going to kill them, surely. And that's what their plan is. That's what they do. So they turn all the gauges off. Like, right, we're going to pump through all these pipes, the endless fucking pipes, into the domes. We're going to kill them. Well, Quatermass, how long will it take? I don't know. Hours, weeks, I don't know. Kill them slowly. In the meantime, like, there's arguments amongst these people, which is quite convincing, because no one, who put you in charge and all this, like, how do we know that this is all true, and like we just killed all this shit takes place. And but a voice, the voice of the Mr. comes over the tannoy. Put your weapons down, come outside, you can go home safely. Stop what you're doing, turn the taps back on again, and don't fall for this, don't fall for it. And there's a cupboard marked emergency weapons. So they get a crowbar to try and break this open. And you've got Percy Herbert, the Kurt Russell, Gordon Ramsay, and Lomax joins him because like, it's the first time I ever had a copper help me with a crowbar. They're fucking trying to prize this thing open, like, because they're running out of ammunition, aren't they? And I think they break the windows and there's all like fucking put the gas masks on and all that, take them off the dead guards and all that. But this voice comes over and keeps saying like, you know, just come out. And two of them, Dawson and John McLeod, they're like, no, but I want to see what's happening. I want to see what's in there. We'll show you what's in there. It's not aliens. It's not what this guy says. It's just food. For fuck's sake. Come and believe us. Join us. Join us. So, oh, fuck off then. But you won't come back alive. They open the doors, let him out. And suddenly you see the live action couple walking down the street. This concrete path towards a huge dome in the background, like matte painting, and they get in there, and over the tannoy you hear screaming, and it's like, what the fuck, and confused voices, and the next thing you know, like, but the pressure's gained. Something's blocking the pipes. We're trying to pump oxygen in, but they've blocked it. And like Michael Ripper goes, hang on, and blood is dripping on him. Human blood. And he like, Quatermass goes, oh my god, they as I said, they killed the pair of them, and they've stuffed them into the pipes, used them as human pulp to block the airflow of oxygen. And they're like, yeah, bastards! And they smashed the fucking glass down. Michael Ripper and Percy Herbert armed with a Thompson submachine gun. They've got that cupboard open, special weapons. And what have they found? Sten guns, British Sten guns. It's bizarre that they're using American Thompson submachine guns in this movie when at the time it would have been British Sten guns. Or the proto FN rifle, which was sort of coming into effect in the 50s, but wasn't on mass release. Wouldn't be at a factory facility like this. But they have Lee Enfield grenade launchers, which I thought was great, a great touch. They call them anti-tank guns. They are not. It's the Lee Enfield rifle. Very famous rifle. And it's got like a big tin of beans on the end of it. It's a modified Lee Enfield. And inside that tin of beans is a fucking grenade. You fire that grenade. That grenade goes 70 yards. They call them anti-tank guns in this. Anti-tank guns? Well, they're not. A grenade is not an anti-tank weapon. It can be used against a tank. And they were with sometimes great success, but oftentimes not. A grenade is demolitions. It breaks open things you can't get through. It's a room clearance. You can kill a lot of people with a grenade. And obviously, you can take out. I mean, the whole thing about a grenade, it fills the skies with enemy bad guys and all their bits and pieces. But it's clinically used for certain procedures, but you don't take out tanks with them, not usually. And it's got a range of 70 yards. Now, during this bit, when they realise that their friends have been used to fucking... How horrible is that? To mash up and pulp and block a pipe. They've mangled the bodies to do this. Fucking hell. And that's Percy Herbert. And then Michael Ripper, let's rip, with a fucking Lee Enfield grenade launcher. And he hits the fucking dome. Now the dome is not 70 metres away. It's a hell of a lot further than that. But fucking blows it. Oh shit. And they're like, my God, he goes, it worked. And but they're going like, oh my God. Oh, sorry, they put the gas masks on now because all their atmospheric stuff, the ammonia and the methane's going to come leaking out. Put your masks on now. Let's get out. But the big shambling, shaggy swamp things, which look like crinoids from Doctor Who, Seeds of Doom, they look identical to that. Well, rather, the ones in Doctor Who ripped off this and Phil Leakey. And they come out and they... Even they've got no physical body, they're just a great big shambling swamp which just rises 200 feet in the air. There is, Phil Leakey put kind of faces, he put like 2 eye holes and maybe a bit of a mouth, so you can see, oh, there's something actually alive, it is a thing. And there's several of them now who are shambling through the big facility, and they come lumbering towards this control centre. It's right in front of the glass, and Quatermass is there, and the roof comes down. They all get out, they're shooting at it, you know. Then they have a pell-mell run through the facility, and these things are... They're great, they're actually great. The look of them, the glistening wet effect is like, whoa! And there's bits sloughing off them as well. And they're crushing, all the guards are running about, the zombie guards, getting fucking crushed. Bits are falling down, they're nudging over like cylinders of flammable liquids. Boom! Explosions left, right and centre. Our boys, they lose a couple more, but they might, they call it a truck, it's like this fucking Jeep, you know, get in the truck. So a few of them manage to get there. Now, in a bit of clumsy editing, to be honest, there is a zombie guard in the Jeep, but when they get to it, he's not there. And the way it works out, he sort of once they get in it, he gets up and he gets shot and clubbed. But he wasn't there, he was definitely not in it to begin with. But anyway, but this guy is still alive, and they drive off, and the gates have been shut now after the big riot, and they just fucking barrels you, the gates, bing, like that. Fuck off. It's great action. It's great action. A Hammer movie with big gun battle, massive firefight, explosions aplenty, mob rule, mass fucking chaos, explosions, gunfire, and everything. You know, it's fucking marvelous. And they barrel along back to South Downs, that road, South Downs, and they get there, and this zombie guard, he's like, oh, he's alive, he'll make it. Even though he's been shot and clubbed, and they go, well, we don't want him. No, we need him. We need proof. He's the proof that we've got. Okay, we will need proof for this. And they pull up at the same spec we've seen a million times in the movie already. And they look down on the big facility, and all the domes are fucking blown open, and there's like several shambling fucking, you know, vegetable shaggy masses of moss. And then I've missed a bit out, haven't I? Of course I have. Remember that rocket that Quatermass was getting penalised for? It's a nuclear bomb. It's suicide, that, you know. Well, he told, when they realised there's an asteroid on the dark side of the Earth, right, fire it against that, because that's where they're coming from. Launch it, fuck it right off. So, right, this is important, this, and I did miss it out in my energetic discourse of riots and mob control and great big shambling vegetable monstoids. William Franklin Brand, right, we're going to launch this rocket. Doors burst open, and in comes Brian Forbes, Marsh, Quatermass's mate, who got the thing on his face, who we haven't seen since. Suddenly he comes in, and the look on his face, William Franklin, Brand just goes like, yeah, don't touch anything. And they grab the other guy, and suddenly these goons come in as well, and grab this guy and fucking throw him to the deck, knock him out and all that. And like, you're coming with us. And like, William Franklin just, you know, okay. But then makes a break for it, and launches the rocket. Boosh! Gets machine gun. White shirt on, lots of strawberry jam. Front and back. So you get shot in the back, but you have the wounds on the front as well. Now you've got to remember that the great Sam Peckinpah is the guy that created in movies the exit wound, because he said, like, look, bullets don't just go in some person and then stop, but some bullets do. Ballistics, they're designed that way. But back in the Korean War, where Sam Peckinpah served, he said, I saw another Marine get shot, and it was the longest split second of my life. So the guy rose up, a bullet hit him, and I watched it, and it lasted a nanosecond for him to die. But in my mind, that lasted forever. I saw the bullet hit him and the bullet exit, and his body crumple and his life end right there. He said, but it lasts forever. So in all the films he made with violence and gunplay, bullets would go in and bullets would come out, and he'd show all that, and he'd do it in slow motion. Wild Bunch, Cross of Iron in particular, but he knew what he was doing, what he's talking about. But it's funny that in this movie, Bran gets shot from behind, and you see all that on his back. Strawberry jam, you know, fucking everywhere. But he even die. He reaches up to make a final coordinating, hit that button there, pull that there. But you've got it on the front as well. So cleverly, Phil Leakey went, no, the bullets are going to go through him. It's machine gun fire. They're going to cut right through him. So I like that. So he launched the rocket. Now, while they've been in the control facility, our heroes, our bunch of heroes, filming together, Michael Ripper goes, they're launching flares now. And fucking Quatermass goes, what do you mean they're launching flares? Well, it was in the sky a minute ago. Oh, no, there it is again. And it's not a flare, it's the rocket. Bran did it. He's launched the rocket. And the rocket's heading towards this asteroid staging post for the aliens. So when they're out on the South Downs, on that road again, overlooking all these shambling fucking beasties are coming across the landscape, suddenly the fucking sky lights up, and they all go, look up. He goes, my God, either the rocket's exploded itself or it's actually hit the asteroid. We've done it. And suddenly he goes, look at the monsters. And like they're going, and they're dying. It's one of those where you've killed the centre thing of whoever the bastards are, and it wipes out everything else. All the other evil just dies. Like the Prince of Vampires, you kill the Lord Vampire, and everyone else gets, you're back to normal again. Too easy, folks, too easy. But hey, it is what it is. And but a huge shockwave hits them, which is a nice touch. I don't know why it does it. I think because the plant explodes, and so you know, all the trees bend over and all that, like, and like they all get behind the Jeep, and the Jeep fucking lifts and turns over like that, and they're all like hanging onto it like this, and the guard who they kept with him, and then it's a bizarre scene because he lolls out of it, and it's a real guy, and the Jeep's overturning, and he could have been crushed. And he lolls out of it like, anyway, they all hang on to this. And the shockwave dies down, and they're like, oh my God, we survived. And this guard gets up, the mark has gone from his face. Not sure I like that, you know. It just seems too fucking ridiculous. And he stands up and he's like, where am I? Because obviously the alien influence is gone. So by direct sort of reaching out from that, everybody else who's been affected by this, all the people in government and office, you're not going to see this. They're going to return to normal again. All the guards who haven't been killed. Don't forget, the villagers and the guards have waged war, and they've killed virtually all of each other. So there's a lot of fucking fatalities here. But then again, there's Bill. He was one of us, he was my Bezzy mate, but he fucking killed my family on the beach that day. But it wasn't his fault, under alien influence. You're still going to kill him, aren't you? Yes, you are, because he killed your family, so you're going to kill him. So even though poor Bill didn't have a fucking clue what he was doing, doesn't matter, you're dead, motherfucker. Because you did it. So all these other people, like Chris at the start, young Chris in the car with his beard. What happened to him? We never found out what happened to him. There's another thing. Where was he? What did he do? I suppose they get away with it by saying, like, look, all these people that were under the influence and went back to their normal lives, but were acting under the influence of the alien Hive mentality. So they were just doing what they were told in whatever facet of life that they were. This doesn't get said to you, but I suppose you can glean that from the plot itself. And I suppose it does make sense. So Lomax just goes like, well, only one thing worrying me now, how I'm going to write a final report on this. And Quatermass just says like, I'm just worried about how final this report's going to be. Dun 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 dun. Quatermass 2, folks, is action-packed. It's riddled with flaws, but the flaws are from the condensing of a story. You're not meant to think about the distances involved. I know I've talked about that a fair bit, but it is what it is. The marks on the faces. Now, in the TV show with Roy Thynes, Thin as, oh yeah, I've reviewed that as well. The aliens have a dodgy little finger, and this gives them away. They can't get the DNA quite correct. In Invaders from Mars, you know, there's a mark on the neck and all that, the back of the neck. In loads of these movies, there's a giveaway, which kind of makes sense. Now, in this movie, I'm trying to work out why the laceration V shape is there. It's a nice visual thing, and like, my God, the Chief Commissioner, it's on his wrist. Can't trust you. And obviously other ministers are like that as well. But I think if you do analyse it, the way of working it out and maybe coming to terms with it is that when these meteorites break open the steam and the blob that you don't see, the black goo, nothing to do with Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott and your black goo can go fuck right off. This black goo I respect. The black goo, the alien creature, leaps into... It's only got a limited amount of time because of the atmosphere on there. It's got to get to something that can breathe our atmosphere, and it's got to burrow in somewhere. So it goes in, and obviously the shape of it makes a V-shaped incision, gets in. I get that. I can understand that. It's an entry portal, but why doesn't it heal up over time? Because this place has been going for like a good 12 months. How come we still got the marks? And how come once the alien's gone, the marks go? You know, and what happened to Sheila? Hey, what happened to Sheila? What happens to Marsh afterwards? You know, presumably Marsh becomes normal, as do the guards that were with him, who shot and killed Brand, William Franklin. There's a lot of unanswered things about this, but as I said before, I think it's because it condenses so much down and has to for a streamlined, action-packed movie. The production value of this movie is outstanding. That Shell Haven oil refinery, that's gold dust. That you couldn't fabricate that. Now, this film, I gave the locations away: Old Scotland Yard, Whitehall, Trafalgar Square. They shut down Trafalgar Square for 2 minutes for Quatermass to drive up and see some military construction lorries going past, which is not explained. But you know, he's thinking they're going to Winnenden Flats. But you don't know that. It doesn't fucking say Winnenden Flats. It doesn't say anything at all like that. So I don't know why he thinks that, but you're meant to think. He's like, they're suspicious. And then someone beeps him from behind and all that. But they did stop traffic for 2 minutes to do that. South Downs, right? Yeah, you see that a hell of a lot. Hemel Hempstead, Newtown, yes, you see that. It's not completed. Which I like about this, because it gives the idea that they have only just begun to do this and move these people in. So, you know, it's all right. But they filmed it at Bray Studios, Hammer's home ground, of course. And but also, this is the first film that Hammer did bits of at Elstree Studios, which they did. So even though you've got Shell Haven oil refinery, so magnificent, and lots of footage there. The interiors, the medical centre, the control facility, they are done on a Bray in interior sets. So works great. And yeah, that was it. That is all the locations. But what a great bunch of locations. Really used to day for night shooting as well. Hammer was really bad at doing this. There's a couple of occasions when he did it well. Quatermass Xperiment isn't too bad at this, but this film, there's some shots where in the same sequence where they're running around, big battle at the end, darkness, and then the next shot it's quite clearly very light, and you've got shadows. It doesn't really work at all. But you know what? Look, it is what it is. We know Hammer's limitations, and Hammer managed to put, especially in these movies, so much on the screen. This is the first one, I say, Bernard Robertson, art designer, production designer. He was art designer on this. First film he worked for on Hammer. But then do many, many more, obviously. James Bernard does the score. Score's brilliant. There's a lot of Bernard, Professor Bernard Quatermass, Bernard Robinson, production designer, and obviously Bernard Quatermass, and James Bernard, James Bernard is the composer, and it's pronounced Bernard, but it's spelled Bernard. So either way, it's there. I love it, folks. This film, in the ranking of the three Hammer Quatermass movies, this is the last. The Quatermass in the Pit is always at the top. Then Quatermass Xperiment, which broke the mold, and then it's this. I actually probably wouldn't argue with that, but that's also saying that, look, it may be the bottom of the three, but that's no lack in terms of quality. Great performances, a wonderfully warm, lively, energetic performance from Brian Donlevy as Quatermass, far beyond what he did in the first movie. He's a fucking hero in this one, and he's great. He's genuinely great, and the fact that he's, oh yeah, the toupee, the fifth toupee, the fate of the fifth toupee. That should be like an Agatha Christie or a Sherlock Holmes saga. The fate of the fifth toupee. That, when everything overturns at the end with the big cyclone from the plant blowing up. Val Guest, they have great big wind turbines and what do you call them? Fucking funnels, fans. That's it, fans blowing a hoolie. And obviously they pulled the Jeep over like that with cables, and they're hanging onto it on the other side of it, and it's this wind rush. And Val Guest, director Val Guest, said to Brian Donlevy, look, face the fucking fans and your toupee will be alright. Don't turn the other way. His toupee wasn't at the front, it was back. And what did he do? He turned the other way and his fucking toupee went way into the fucking wild blue yonder. And it was the last one they had. And they're like, oh my god. So everyone was running after it. They'd be using bits of props and camera struts and things to try and swat it out the sky. Val Guest said it was like a bat flying around, a hairy bat, like that. And everyone's leaping, off this hill trying to catch the fucking thing, and they lost it. But they had enough. The footage worked, so you don't see that. Wouldn't you love to see those outtakes? Wouldn't you love to see footage of that? Chasing down, Brian Donlevy's fucking toupee, his errant flying toupee. Again, there's always rumours that about Brian Donlevy being awkward to work with because he's pissed as a fart all the time. I've covered all this in the previous review, and I don't tend to believe that. I tend to believe Val Guest, who gave interviews up until the end of his life about these movies, and he said, no, I got on great with him. He was wonderful, very professional, always knew his lines, never fucked his lines up. And he said, but you'd film in the morning and you'd be great, but he'd be drinking this coffee all morning, getting pissed as a fart. And then in the afternoon, he'd come over, he'd ask me, look, I know what my lines are, but why am I saying them? What's happened? What's the story of this movie again? Why am I here? What am I doing? And you just had to break it down. Like, you're doing this, and something's happened, and like that. You just like, oh, okay, fine, yeah. And then, like, action, you know, and he'd be spot on. He wouldn't fuck his lines up at all. But there are people that say, no, he was a nightmare to work with. He was drunk all the time. Now, I don't tend to believe that. Oh, I believe he was drunk, but I don't tend to believe that he was a bastard to work with. I think he was probably very, very sound to work with. Look, you know, during this time, there was so many drunkards making, you know, multi-million-dollar fucking movies and becoming superstars. And that didn't stop. And that's ongoing even today. You've got drunk actors who still are geniuses when it comes down to it. That's how they do it. Doesn't matter. The job done on camera, you know, everyone's a winner. Whatever it takes. See what I mean? This is the nice score that Christopher Young was forced to do for Invaders of Mars. And he hated it. Because it weren't what he thought for the movie at all. But, yeah, Brian Donlevy, the only guy to play Quatermass more than once, I think it's great. I love these two movies. Experiment is a proper sci-fi horror. This is sci-fi with some horror elements, but it's more sci-fi, I find. And but it's the social aspect of the distrust of government in new towns. Got to remember that during this time, McCarthy in America was blacklisting everybody, and there's reds under the beds and all that. Now, in America, they didn't have any espionage taking place from the Ruskies, from behind the Iron Curtain. They didn't. It didn't happen. But the threat of it was there. However, in Britain, we did. There were tons of Russian spies here. Operatives working here, cells working here. Tons and tons and tons. And the UK population knew that they were here and didn't believe the UK government at the time about they were downplaying the whole thing. You had, and as Nigel Neal says, there was an entire array on the south coast of radar dishes and antennas, and what was that for? The government never explained it, never. You also had a lot of American air bases which were taken over. Now, I know a lot about this because I've actually been to some of these and done exercises in some of them. A lot of American air bases, once the Yanks had left, you know, after World War II, the Yanks had left, these bases were still there. The MOD moved in and closed the entire environment down. You couldn't get in there for love and money. And top secret signs were hammered in. Barbed wire fences, electrified fences. What was happening? Some of those American bases weren't just air bases, they were communications facilities. It was to intercept other sort of communications from, you know, Germans and what have you. And a lot of people believe that was still taking place. GCHQ, of course, we all know about that, but it had all these other little outlying sort of bases and installations which could, you know, obviously clue up to all that. But local residents were like, what's happening there? Troop movements would go in, trucks would go in, and you wouldn't see them leave. You'd hear the sound of drilling and like the ground would shake. What are they doing? What are they doing? Tunnel network, yeah, there is that. Well, it's not exactly hidden information now. There's a huge tunnel network under the UK. Escape routes from Whitehall and Westminster and Buckingham Palace to various places in Wales, Merseyside, Scotland. Fucking, you know, underground railways. A lot of these things were taking place. So, but they weren't making it public, well, for obvious reasons, but the public knew something was going on. You can't have construction vans and tons of troops going into an area and then not coming out. And then, like, you know, you ask questions, shut up, get meant to know. And then these new towns springing up. And like, well, and then they're bringing people in. So you've got a town there. I said before, New towns were often attached to old towns. So you've got an old village, an old town there, full of the locals who are like blacksmiths and fucking whatever, you know, farmers, I don't know, fucking everywhere, selling pork pies. And then suddenly, just down the road, another 400 houses get built, and people get brought in who are then going to work on some secret site just over the hill. And you can't talk to them, and they won't tell you what they're doing. Well, it just breeds massive distrust. America has that as well, but we had it first. Now, I've been in a few of these facilities. I've done exercises there, and you can go in certain parts. But some bits are, the end, but like underground complexes, and they're suddenly bricked off. But you can tell those bricks, they can be pushed through because it goes a lot further, but you're not given any parameters to go in there. You're doing a specific exercise. So I know these places exist, and they're still there. Do not get me wrong, they're still there. These places still exist. Whether anyone's doing anything there or not, I don't know. I did know until about, 5 years ago. I knew a lot. Oh, you want to know, don't you? I ain't saying. I signed something. I did sign something. What was it called again? Oh yeah, the Official Secrets Act. Fucking hell. Nigel Neal, when he wrote this, and I think the TV show shows it more, different people in Parliament, MPs, and ministers, who were taken over by the alien influence. There's a lot more of that in the original version. And he was because he didn't trust the UK government. It wasn't UK, Great British government, and so he was like, "That's so and so. That's so and so. They're under alien influence." But he was basing it on real life people in Parliament. No, he knew his stuff. Now, I said before about Halloween 3, John Carpenter's Halloween 3. It's Tommy Lee Wallace, who did it. But it's a great film. I love it. It's not got Michael Myers. We know that. Who gives a shit? It's not meant to have Michael Myers. The Halloween franchise was never meant to be just Michael Myers. John Carpenter wanted to kill it off with Halloween 2. He did the only thing he thought I could do it. I'm going to make him Laurie's brother, and that's going to fuck everything up. And I'm going to blow his eyeballs out, and I'm going to set him on fire. That's it. I want not more to do with this. But I want Halloween to be an ongoing thing where every year or every other year we make a Halloween movie set around Halloween, but a different story. Of course, that didn't catch on. Everyone wanted Michael Myers. Halloween 3 comes out, Season of the Witch, which is a fucking awesome movie. I love that movie. And it's about a warlock, an Irish warlock, Colonel Cochrane, played by Dan O'Herlihy, who has a secret facility in Santa Mira. Santa Mira is the name of the town in the original Don Siegel Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Everything's connected, folks. And he's making novelty masks, the Silver Shamrock novelties, with a devilish, satanic, Samhain, old Celtic curse in the microchip in the back. Gonna turn kids' heads to mush, spiders and snakes on Halloween night. And in that movie, he has a secret base there. And all the people in the town, they love and revere him. But they don't know what's happening there. But they love him because they're all in some way part of it. And you have not the overshoot, which you get in Quatermass 2, but you have like a misfire when Marsh is tampering with the thing on the back of the mask. And she gets bizarred, and then spiders come out of her barbecued face. And then but Cochrane's team of robots arrive there. Robots, automatons, the zombies of Quatermass 2, the brainwashed zombies. And they take her, just go into the hospital at the factory. They've got the best facilities there. She'll be well looked after. Like Marsh and everybody else in Quatermass 2. And John Carpenter and Tommy Lee Wallace and Joe Dante were big fan. They're all friends, massive fans of Nigel Neal. can we get Nigel Neal to write this Halloween 3 Season of the Witch? So Nigel Neal wrote the original script for Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Dino De Laurenti and John Carpenter both thought, hang on, we need to inject a bit more fucking oomph into this. 80s, want a bit more nastiness. Quatermass 2, fucking gunplay and violence aplenty, but no, we won't show explicit stuff. And so they added bits, and Nigel Neal went, fuck that, you know, that's not what I wrote. The film is, as it stands now, it's a good approximation of what Nigel Neal's story was. You know, an old warlock and a big conspiracy and a hidden factory and automatons and all that. Like, it had all that, but it was just all the gore and the snakes and everything. Heads being fucking squished, eyeballs being pushed in, and a head being torn off. None of that was in there. And Nigel Neal went, I don't like any of that. In fact, I want my name taken off this. So, not having it. I was extremely pissed off. So he's nothing to do with Halloween 3 anymore, even though that was his original idea and story. Funny enough, like John Carpenter chose to, like, you know, shit, you know, we fucked up there. Nigel Neal's one of the demigods of sci-fi and horror, and fucked it up there. So when he made his Prince of Darkness, a film, you know, you guys know how much I love John Carpenter. My favourite director, The Thing, Escape from New York, The Fog, Salt and Peace and Dead Sea, Big Trouble in Little China, my favourite movies. And but he did Prince of Darkness, which I know a lot of you guys love. I think it's shit, I really do. But it's written by Martin Quatermass as a homage and a kind of like a doff with the cap. Quantum physics and an influence. Nigel Neal wrote about like how religion may have been shaped by alien influences, and the supernatural and science conflict, and there's got to be a reason for these things, which is what Bernard Quatermass always finds out, you know. And so Prince of Darkness straddles all of this, but in a really ham-fisted sort of way. Carpenter fucks this one up. He has the most bizarre middle section where you've had a night of hell and rather lackluster stupidity and supernatural shit, and then you get an entire day where they're all holed up in different rooms while the bad guys just stand there. An entire day goes by. You're like, what the fuck? Where's your momentum? You've done nothing. You've gone like that, and then you've gone fucking crash down to flatlining, and it's bollocks, absolute bollocks. One day I'll cover that movie properly. I've written a huge essay about that film for AB Forums, and I went to the fine tooth comb, and I love John Carpenter, but I think he massively dropped the ball with this. But that's, again, a homage to Nigel Neal, the creator of Bernard Quatermass. So folks, I love Quatermass 2. It has flaws, the distances, this whole 90-mile thing, and then from London to, it's ridiculous. But it's exciting. It just keeps building. The conspiracy, you can't trust him, oh my God. And Vinnie Broadhead, and he's staggering down, don't touch me, and he's putting his hand, Incredible Melting Man, at the end of that, is in an oil refinery or a power station, and he meets some security guards, and the guy who's chasing him, his friend. And because he's melting, he's leaving bits of himself all the way down these stairs and metal gantries, and it's exactly like that from Quatermass 2. Exactly like that. And of course, Incredible Melting Man is the same plot as the Quatermass Experiment. So that film ripped off Quatermass Experiment and Quatermass 2 massively. And I love it. I don't care. I still love Melting Man. It's fucking ridiculous, but I totally love it. He's here. But making a guest appearance here. Right, folks. I've said enough about this. The film's on for like, I don't know, 87 minutes. And I've done, well, we're approaching 2 hours. Here's what it is. I'll talk these films through with a fine-tooth comb, and I'll give my opinions on every single scene and every single aspect of it. And you know what you get with a Kilt-Man review. And Nigel Neal, bit of a swine in real life, quite an awkward guy to work with, but his ideas, and as he said, he's an ideas man. Don't like sci-fi, don't like monsters, but I like to think of what could happen. If we create this, what could be the other side of it? We send rockets up, what could come back? And to be honest, he is a progenitor of great sci-fi. He would never admit to it, but that's the way things go. And Val Guest is a tremendous director. These two films and The Abominable Snowman are outstanding. Val Guest did a lot of comedy, and you get that with these movies because he allows overlapping dialogue, cinema verite, that a lot of handheld camera work as well, which works, and it keeps you in the moment. He does a thing about the fourth wall. You know, like you have a scene in the medical centre in the facility. You have Vinnie Broadhead and Quatermass storm in there, and it's taken from one angle. You see them come in there, and it's a big set of Bray, and this guy comes out from behind us, and approaches them. Like, shouldn't be in here, get out! And like they could have kept it like that, but as Val Guest says, the audiences pick up on this, and it looks very stage bound, and so you have to do a reverse shot and show where that guy came from, and the wall behind him or the door behind him, and they do it. So he said it creates space around your characters, it makes it three-dimensional, and it puts the audience in there, and he's exactly right, and it works. And all his films have that, but his comedy stuff, and his other movies as well, the overlapping dialogue and the timing and the whip snap, wisecrackery works brilliantly. Obviously having Sid James in there as well is outstanding, but everyone does it. They bark at each other, they don't let someone finish a line. Clever stuff. That it's painstakingly rehearsed. You've got to realise that. It sounds like improv. Sid James was renowned for his improvisation, and yet he didn't do that. He just learnt his lines and learnt how to deliver them with other people around him and timing. It wasn't improv. Every single thing he says was exactly what was scripted, but he learned how to put it in, the timing and deliberation, and it's just genius. And he's great in this, and even his drunk act, he's outstanding. And then when he's serious, and then his death scene, oh my god, Sid James gets machine gunned. Yeah, fucking awesome. Folks, if you were not a fan of Quatermass 2, I beg you, implore you to reevaluate it. It has so much to offer. It is a tremendously exciting film. It becomes a massive gun battle, but that's pure James Bond. Even before the James Bond movies did it. And you've got big swampy monsters, and you've got zombies. Well, they're not like George Romero, but they're zombified bastards. You've got this Mark, which is like, oh no, cornied, hackneyed now, I suppose, but because it was massively repeated from movies and TV shows onwards. But it's just super exciting, and the Shell research, the Shell, I won the Shell Research Prize for Literature. That's why that was bombed in there. Oh, just happened to mention that, did you, Kilt-Man? But the Shell oil refinery is outstanding location work. Just tremendous. It gives so much. A lot of like Blake Seven and Doctor Who would use facilities, factories and things like that. But this, nothing is done. Apart from maybe George Romero's Zombies again, Dawn of the Dead, the Monroeville shopping mall. I can't think of anything else that has exploited a genuine location as much as that and Quatermass 2, the Shell Haven oil refinery. Genius. Folks, I have been always Shelby Kilt-Man. I have devoured, well, that doesn't look like much, does it really, to be honest? But there's still a few good glugs there. Quatermass. Our next review of Quatermass will be Andrew Keir as Quatermass. Scottish actor Andrew Keir. Wonderful actor, and it is the fan favourite, Quatermass in the Pit. It is genius, and I can't wait. I've not watched it for a while, but I'm going to enjoy that, and then I'll be enjoying talking about it all to you guys, because there's a lot more to that one. That's got a lot more supernatural stuff to it, and then how supernature and the belief in the devil comes to be. Neil was firing on all cylinders for this story. It's genius. It's absolute genius. Another invasion, but it's the way it brings in the devil, hobgoblins, hauntings. It is endlessly fascinating. Folks, I have been always Shelby Kilt-Man. Please, in the meantime, and as ever, drink whiskey, talk old movies, fall off your chair. Shall I? Shall I? And folks, that is acting for real. Sid James couldn't do that. His death scene behind the bar, and there's no blood on him, which is quite thankful, because they do say, you know, your friend, they shot apart his face, which they would have done because they were shooting. It's only his face above the bar. Another strafing run. I'm out of here, folks. Hope you enjoyed this. Please do look at these old movies. The older movies are where it's really at. I cover new movies like Terrifier 3, and I cover all the new stuff, obviously. But without these older films, you would not have these. You wouldn't have the new stuff. And then new generations go, oh, I don't want to look at the old. Oh, the old, it's shit. How wrong you are. Look at them. Listen to what I've said, and just watch them. Try to watch them with fresh eyes. Oh yeah, you watch the latest stuff, and oh, it's gory, it's always better, the big name stars, or people that you fancy are in there, but they're not better acted, they're not better told, the effects may be better, but that's as far as it goes. Ideas came first, and these films broke the mould, pushed the boundaries, shattered the envelope, and went well wide, and gave other filmmakers inspiration to make their movies. You would not have had George Romero. You would not have had John Carpenter. You would not have had Tobe Hooper without the Hammer movies, without the Universal horror monster movies. You would not have had them. It would not have happened. They have to have an inspiration. They didn't just come up with these fucking ideas themselves. Oh, they did it. Oh, you can show someone a severed head. You can show this vampire fangs, and you can do that. Yeah, you can. Well, if we can do that, then maybe we can show a bit more. This is how films progress and how the genre evolves. So you owe it. If you're a fan of the genre, the horror genre, the sci-fi genre, any fucking genre, you owe it to yourselves to go back and look at how that genre started. Be it westerns, war movies, whatever. Go back and look. Pay your respects. Doff your cap, because it started there. Just because what you got now. Oh, wow, it's great. Oh, I don't need to look at old stuff again. Oh, God, that's me grandparents and all that. Ah, fuck you. You know, watch them. They're fucking great, and they kick ass. This movie has a body count fucking beyond any Terrifier movie. I can tell you that. I love Terrifier, but it goes way beyond that in sheer bodies. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. You know, you've got all that. And you got big slimy monsters too. And horrible, warty fucking things on people's faces. They do tend to go like that. Hand comes away and it's there. There's no way on earth they've stuck it on. Vera Day playing Sheila they go, what's on her neck? It's bad continuity. But what's on her neck there? Her neck's totally bare. And then she goes, on it, not her neck, but her upper chest. Just above the chesticle. And she goes, and there's a big fucking one of these things. But the thing is, she hasn't stuck it on. That has to be painstakingly done. It's just a bit of, I don't know, maybe slightly inept editing, but it doesn't matter. It overall works a treat. As does this. Right, I've got to go out with the dog, so you guys behave yourselves. Don't fall for like Soylent Green. It's people. Don't fall for like big new factories next to your town. Just spring up out of nowhere. And they do. Don't fall for huge big immigrant buildings being built near you to house illegal immigrants. Don't fall for it. I'll leave that one there for now, shall I? Ooh, Kilt-Man. Are you going to get on to the real hot topics of the day? Not right now. You know where to find me. Take it easy, folks.